I'd like to start out by echoing many of the sentiments of my colleagues. These past 6 years have certainly flown by. I can remember being forewarned about that exact thing, that just be prepared. It's going to be in an instant. And I thought to myself, well, 6 years, really, what is that? And what kind of time block is that? And I thought, well, let's see, 7th grade till the end of our senior year. Mike Calton might have had a couple extra years in there for some repeat grades, but 6 years. That seemed interminable. Not so much here. It really has flown by. I was also cautioned really not to fall in love with this place and all the things that go along with being a state rep, the dinners, Frank Foster, and, everything that goes along with it. You know the deal. When you're a rep, you're 10 foot tall. I would like to be 6 foot. I just want to make sure everybody knows I'm taller than Andrea LaFontaine. That's the important thing. But also, every joke you tell is funny. KY. And people hang on to your every word. And then it's over. I was also told that, the friendships would just kind of dry up and blow away. I don't really think so. I think the relationships that we built here really have the potential to last a lifetime. We've been through way too much together to just let it slip away. We've been here for the tragedies and the deaths of our friends and colleagues, Pete and Julie, or of our spouses of our colleagues, Ken, my seatmate, and Marcia. Even children of our colleagues, Kevin Daly. We've also been here for the celebrations, the births of children. We were trying to compile a list yesterday, Andrea and Lisa and I, and we just decided, well, we definitely have enough for a football team. And even the births of grandchildren for some of us in our gray years. We've been here for triumphs and failures. And through it all, we've remained colleagues and hopefully friends. The day after the presidential election, my wife called me. She was down in Kentucky visiting our daughter and our grandson. And she asked me how my day in Lansing went, which I thought was kind of weird. Why of all days to call and ask that? She was wondering because of all of the riots and civil unrest that she saw after the election, which I didn't really see a lot of because I don't have a TV at home that I watch, and I don't have a landline. Election seasons kind of come and go in my house, and they're kind of a blip on the screen other than being here. And so I said, well, it's kind of strange because here it was just business as usual. We congratulated those who had won their elections or re-elections. We consoled those who had lost. Certainly, we caught up on what was going on in the lives of our friends and colleagues, and it was just another day. And I thought to myself at that time, that really speaks to the strengths of the friendships that we forged here. And I've heard it said more than once around here that we're not just friends. We're more than that. We've become family. And I kind of think the evidence of that is that just like siblings, on occasion, we've been known to kind of trash talk each other. But when somebody else outside of our circle is doing that, we're quick to jump to their defense. We've got their back. To me, that's the mark, that's the evidence that we really have become a family here. And I've been blessed to have made so many friendships in the time I've been here. If I took all the time that Representative Alumba took, I probably could list everybody that I've become. I won't do that, but You know, first off, I'd like to thank my family. Again, like many of you, my family did not know that they were signing up for 6 years' worth of parades and meetings and everything that goes along with this job. Every holiday, they're somewhere working for us, and I can't thank them enough. They're glad it's over, though. And of course, everyone in the 70th District who had the faith in me to allow me to serve them. Thank you. But I'd also like to thank some people from around here. Rich Adams, who always made me sound way smarter in the paper than I actually am. The people I'd like to call the Three Musketeers, Connie Russell, Kristen Fair, and Jean Lutherlow, who sat behind me for 4 years and berated me and but had my back. I couldn't be happier to have them as my friends. Lisa Lyons, she was my navigator here. My first day here, I stood in front of the statue out front, and I was looking for something called the Hob, which I had no idea what it was or where it was. And I'm calling every number on my speed dial. And finally she answered and explained to me, look to your right. And it was like that for every meeting. I just had her on speed dial. Of course, my seatmate Ken, we chose to sit next to each other. We speak the same language. You know, we're both excavators. Probably the language, luckily there isn't cameras or tape recorders back there for that language, but we've grown close. We're good friends and we will remain that. Alice Mansfield, I truly enjoyed all of our conversations in the back, and more importantly, I enjoyed the coffee that Gary Randall always accused me of. That was the only reason I came to session, was for the free coffee. And of course, I walked out of it with last night with a full cup, and he gave me the eye. And my staff, I've gone through a few. The governor seemed to always steal everybody that I hired. Mike Marzano was one of my first. He went to the governor's office and then moved on. Katie Nye, Alyssa De La Garza. Josh is up there now, and he's been with us for a couple years now and done a fantastic job. He keeps me tech-oriented, I should say, where I lack those skills. And of course, somebody that's been with me from the beginning. Actually, she was my first interview and my first hire, and we hit it off right from the beginning. Ariana Van Acker, you've truly become my daughter. I can't imagine what it'll be like not seeing your smiling face every day. I wish you every success and much happiness. I'd also like to thank Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley. He has been a stalwart friend of mine since I've been here. You know, we've had some tough days here, and I can remember my first tough day. It was really a tough day. And when I left here, I was ready to call it quits. Matter of fact, my successor, James Lauer, who's up in the gallery, called me on the way home, and I didn't even want to take the call. I just wanted to forget about this place for the night. Well, Brian had heard that I was struggling with something, and he called me the next day, and he said, you got time to go to lunch? Well, what am I going to say to the lieutenant governor? No. And so we went to Tropo, and we hashed it out. And, you know, he really helped me. I mean, he helped me see how things work here, and helped me with the things that I struggle with, and he's been that way ever since I've been here. And I call him a good friend. And Gary, Mr. Clerk, Gary Randall, he, actually my first day on the floor was the first day I met him. Weird circumstances, but as I walked by the rostrum, he said, "Hey, Rick." I looked up, he reached over, he shook my hand. He said, what had happened there? He said, "Don't think that went unnoticed." I went back. Tom Pierce was our dean of the caucus at the time. I said, "Who was that old guy?" No, I didn't say old guy. I may have thought it, but he said, "Well, that's our house clerk." He said, and I told him what went on. He said, "Yeah, nothing goes unnoticed with him." And that's true. He sees it all here. He has helped me immensely, continues to help me, sometimes gets me into a little trouble, but he continually reminds me that there was a time when my district was represented a whole lot better than what it is now. Of course, that's when he was the state representative there, so. Thank you, Gary, for all your help. Senator Emmons. Judy. The person that sucked me into all this craziness. You, perhaps, have been my biggest supporter, my steadiest counselor, and certainly one of my closest friends. Thank you for believing in me. I'll be forever grateful. You know, I had breakfast with the governor, I think it was last week, myself and a few others that were close to Representative Patalia, and it was kind of a going away. And Dick Postumus was there, Lisa's dad. Someone else who I'd like to thank for all his help and advice over the years. And he offered all of us just one more piece of advice. Something I'd like to offer to the incoming freshman class, and particularly to my successor, James, who has been there for me for 6 years as my campaign manager, my sounding board, somebody who I've gone to for a lot of advice. He knows this place inside and out, and he's young, but he's going to do such a fantastic job. I'll offer you this advice. I won't say it as eloquently as Dick did, so allow me to muddle through it. You'll get the gist of it. We've been given a unique opportunity here, really, to do something that so few people have the opportunity to do. The problem is we get caught up in it, in the busyness of it and everything that's going on, and we really need to take the time to just sit back and let it soak in, to look around and realize what an opportunity it is. Don't let it go by without doing that, because, of course, as many of my class know, before you know it, it'll be over. So with that, thank you.